Hi everybody. It is August 1st, 2020. It is week 85,000 and change since I've been home full time. Things are going okay. Everyone here is still healthy. We've got, both my husband and I are still employed. My son is loving his summer break from school. So aside from, not really having a lot of the stuff we can do out and about, things are good. We're doing fine. So I hope that you're having a good summer as well, or winter if you're on the opposite end of the world, and that you and your family are staying safe and healthy, and that you're just kind of getting through this just like all the rest of us. So it's been a month since I've talked to you. Again, I did not think it was going to be that long. July just became weird with work and with schedules and whatever, and all of a sudden I'm like, it's August. But it's been a busy month. I got some stitching done. Can't wait to show. I did a little too much shopping. And I originally was supposed to be up in Nashua, New Hampshire this weekend. It was supposed to be Celebration of Needlework, which had been postponed from its normal weekend that was after Memorial Day. They postponed it to this weekend, hoping that, the crisis would have been averted and we could still all get together and go stitch. And then a couple of weeks ago, they were like, no. So they canceled it outright, kind of. I'll get to that in a moment. Postponed it till next year, till May, when it normally happens. So it sucks that they couldn't have it, but at the same time, we all need to be healthy. We need to be able to get there again in one piece. So better be safe than sorry. Cancel it this year so we can all get together next spring. They did, however, put together a pretty inventive virtual celebration this year, and they're doing some features of like different designers to do some virtual shopping. They have continued some of the classes digitally, and we had all of our kits shipped out, which has been cool. I just finished a class actually about a half hour ago. So on a piece, and I'm going to show you that as well. So is it ideal? No, but at least it gets people together in some form and you make the most of it. It's one of those years and you're just going to have to roll with it. I still consider that this technology is actually a good thing in some ways because it's going to allow some of our stitchers that aren't healthy enough to get out and about and meet with us in person. Now we have a way to connect them even if they're stuck in their homes. And I personally think that that's one of the really good things about all of this, is that we can still connect to one another. And for people whose health is preventing them from safely going outside even after COVID is over with, if it ever gets over with, we're going to be able to have a way to connect with them, and they're not going to be disappeared from our lives, which I think is great. So, hey, make good things out of this. So, so it's been a good month. I've gotten stitching done. I'm happy. I'm trying to do as much stitching as I can right now so that I'm prepared for when schools begins, because Rhode Island is supposed to start school at the end of this month. In theory, they're going back full time. I'm really worried about that, and I'm kind of hoping they don't. So while they're preparing for them all going back full time, I'm preparing that I'm going to have my son at home again, which means that things for like exchanges that I signed up for need to be stitched in August. That's what I'm working on now. I can't show those obviously because they're a surprise, but I will take photos and show those at a later date. I'm getting all these little projects done for August to make sure that they're out of the way so I'm not kicking myself mid-September when I'm exhausted and can't catch up on them. So that's where I'm at. But I have a finish from last month. So let me get that. It's done. Astrology sampler is done, and oh, thank God I picked it up the correct way up, because sometimes it's a little hard to see. So yes, it's finally done. I'll scoot it in a little bit more. This is on 14 count Aida, stitch with DMC that was charted. Nothing really fancy or changed here, other than I had started stitching it and realized the instructions said to stitch it in 3 strands, which I like never do. And so I was already close enough, you know, I was already going in there. And yes, you can see my fabric just the tiniest bit between the stitches because it's on black. I don't care. I'm happy. So this was a long time work in progress, and I did not realize how long it was until I put it up on my blog last week and was looking for the first notice of it in my blog. And it was being mentioned back in 2005. Yeah. That's kind of the problem with a lot of my pieces that are works in progress right now, is a lot of this stuff I started a long time ago, and then it all got put on hold when I had my son Max. He's now 7. So, you know, those first 3 years with a little one, especially when it's your first and you don't quite know what you're doing, you never sit down, you never get to stitch. So I've got a bunch of stuff that just has been sitting there. So as I do these videos, you're going to see a lot of stuff. Yeah, I started this in 2005. Yeah, it's because it's been sitting forever because I didn't have time for years. This apparently was one of them. I thought I started this closer to when Max was born, but yeah, I was off by a few years. So yeah, so this is done. Hooray! This is an out of chart print, and if you're looking for it, I've had a couple of people ask me about it, and it really, your best bet is eBay. This chart is from the late 1990s. It's been out of print for a very long time. I think that Lindsey Stitches, who designed this, went under probably around 2000. They've been gone for a very long time. And I don't know who they published through, but it's never been reprinted. So yeah, check eBay if you want a copy of it. Every once in a while, a copy of it comes up on, you know, the Facebook groups. But these Lindsey Stitches patterns weren't that widely spread out to begin with, so they're kind of hard to find. But it's a really cool pattern if you are of the mystical, magical, pagan-y persuasion, like yours truly, and you want to have something that's kind of more spiritually based, that fits your spirituality. Yeah, there's not a lot of that for our group of people, so it's kind of nice to find this stuff. So yes, yay, it's done. Don't know when I'm going to get that around to getting that framed, but I'll deal with that later. So the other thing I've been stitching this month is I, like so many other people, started Pandemic by Long Dog. I am not far into it at all. I can stitch straight lines. Isn't it amazing? Yeah, so this is the top left corner of Pandemic by Long Dog. And I am doing mine on 36 count antique white linen, and I'm using sulky threads, which if you've never used are kind of funky. It's originally for quilting, and let me grab a couple of these here for you so you can see what they look like. I use the 12 weight, which is for hand piecing, for hand quilting. There is also, I believe, a 30 weight and a 40 weight, and those are considered machine weights, but I can't see why you couldn't stitch with those depending on, you know, what count fabric you're using or if you want to double them up. The nice thing about the 12 weight is that you only need 1 strand, and it's about the width of, if you're using 1.5 strands of DMC, it's not quite 2. It's kind of 1.5, 1 and change. But on 36 count, as you can see, it covers perfectly. That's a double line on the top in the purple, and that's a single line in the black. So don't be thrown off by going, oh, they're different thicknesses. No, I just haven't finished that second line. But they cover perfectly on 36 or 18 count Ada, if you prefer Ada. Below that, I'm not quite sure as much. I've only tried them on 36 and 40, and I like them on that. The nice thing about them is the price. This guy is 300 yards of black, and it cost me $5.99. So, you know, if you start mathing out that much black of DMC, it's a pretty good deal. Especially if you're doing a project like this and you want to make sure everything's consistent, you're using the same thread, whatever. Definitely something to consider. These ones are 50 yards and still pretty good length of thread here. It's about $2 and I want to say $2.70 for one of these. So not bad. I bought 2 of each color that I'm doing my project in, and I decided to do Pandemic in shades that are themed to a sunset. So let me grab a few of the different shades I've got here. I kind of got a mix of different things that appealed to me, and as I go, you know, I'm just going to throw things in. So I may not use all of these, but I figure, oh, I can't hold them all. Yeah, and one just fell on the floor. And so, yeah, you know, it's a nice mix of different colors, and I love this purple. It's a really cool kind of frosted lilac purple, and I was a little worried that it would be too light for a sunset purple, but then I saw one last night, and it's pretty right. So, yeah, I'll find that spool that fell on the floor later. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on for Pandemic. I have no plan of when I'm getting that done. I'm going to kind of work on it off and on with some other projects, but I've got other stuff I do want to finish this year. So I'm kind of hoping I get like through that first page so I get an idea of where I'm going to throw colors, and then it'll just kind of go into my stitching rotation like everything else. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on. And like I said, now I've got ornaments going. I've got 1 for Halloween and 2 for Christmas. And in the wings, I have a Wentzler Christmas because I'm running a ornament exchange on the Teresa Wentzler Stitch Along group on Facebook. That signups are ending soon. And, but that's the last one I'm doing because I do have 1 ornament done, technically, that I could use for my exchange. I'd like to stitch something new, but at least I know I have that in the wings if I can't get to something. Yeah. So those are all the ornament stitching is being done this month, and I'm hoping I can kind of get 1 done a week and have it all done for August, and then all I have to do is send stuff, and hooray, I meet all of my exchange deadlines. Yeah, so that's my stitching. I have, since I knew I was not going to Celebration, I've done a little bit too much internet shopping lately. As I was doing bills with my husband, I'm like, what are all these PayPal things? I'm like, oh my God, it's all of my Etsy and all these, oh, yeah. So I've gotten a little out of control. And it's purely because I didn't go to Celebration. I was like, yay, I have all this money. Right. Great. So anyway, so I do have shopping I could show you. One thing is still on the way. I bought a couple of needle minders that are coming from England, so those will be next time. But I know they're en route now, so they'll get here when the Postal Service decides they're going to get here, since everything is now in a wonderful crawl. But yeah, let me show you some shopping stuff. Actually, first, before shopping, I've participated in the Stitch Along the last 2 years, and last year I was part of Team Coven, who came in 2nd place in all the team challenges. So this week I got the rewards for being a 2nd place finisher, a 2nd place team finisher, and I had a good laugh, actually. It's a wonderfully sarcastic stitching group if you're into that kind of thing. Language tolerance is required because it can get a little snarky and a little vulgar at times. You just roll with it. So if you don't like that kind of thing, this is not the stitching group for you. But if you tend to be a little more sarcastic and can pull off some obnoxiousness, good lighthearted obnoxiousness, not like nasty, this is the place for you. And so last year, if you were on Facebook and saw people stitching big things of the Golden Girls, that was the stitch along, sorry. And people could opt to be in teams, and there were team challenges and there were individual challenges, and they were worth points. And, you know, at the end, one team wins, one comes in second, one comes in third. So Team Coven came in second. So our rewards were as followed. We got the official Stitch koozie for your drink glass. Always a fine thing to have, especially actually now in the summertime when everything is sweating like crazy. So believe it or not, this will come in handy in my house. We got our 2 little armbands, which you cannot see the printing on them, but it says cross stitches, mother bitches, and then hashtag Stitch along on both of them in pink and teal. And we got the one thing that cracked me up when I saw it in the bag, and that is a needle minder made of all the orts that we all sent in, as one of the team challenges was to send the organizers your orts in an envelope. And they just said, just send them all in from this project. We don't care, send them all in. And they got this mountain of orts. So they glued and stitched them all down onto a piece of felt and made us little ort needle minders. And it's got a magnet on the back with Stitch along on a little metal tag. And it's perfectly cheesy and adorable. And I love it. I actually do love it. So, and as soon as I saw that come out of the bag, I just cracked up laughing. So those were my second place winners. And thank you to the Stitch along crew for being generously giving us prizes for this, and also for giving me a really good laugh as I saw that heart come out of the bag, because that was worth every bit of it. So thank you. So those were the winnings for Stitch. Then I'll show you the class I took today from Celebration. This is called Bird and Berry Box, and Barbara Jackson was the teacher for it. And it's a really cute little box with, you'd stitch the tufted top, the little strawberry. This is a little needle book here. And then this is your little scissor fob. And we will eventually also be getting the scissors, but they are on back order like everything else because, you know, shipping anything right now around the world sucks. So really cute little class. One of the things I did like about this class in particular is that some of the classes that I've taken, your finishing materials aren't there in the box or aren't in the kit. You know, you'll get like everything except for like the basket or whatever. This one has everything. And granted, it is just a little cardboard box, but just to be able to finish it with what I have in the kit is worth it to me, so I don't have to go hunting. So yeah. Nothing too complicated to stitch, so I think I'll probably do that at some point this fall. It'll be nice to have a little stitching kit, and of course, like all the little parts fit right in the box, which is really cute too. Involves queen stitching and mosaic stitches, and looks like that's about it for crazy stitches. So, and it's in silks and on linen, and yeah, so. Very nicely packaged, very well organized. Like every single section of the kit is in its own labeled, you know, here's the fob, here's the box and whatnot, and then all the fabrics and the cards are here. So that'll be a fun little doodad to do. I don't have them, but I also did both sets of round robins that Celebration does every year, which is they have 4 designers come up, 4 in an hour, and they have a little kit. It's kind of like a make it take it kind of a thing where you're given the kit, they show you it really quickly, you take it with you, and you can do it at your own pace. Sometimes they're hits and misses. You know, sometimes you get the stuff and you're like, I was happy with last night. There were a couple of them I'm kind of on the fence about, but once I actually physically get those kits, I might not be. One of the pieces I was just like, oh my God, that's gorgeous, and cannot wait to start it. And that alone makes it worth it to me to find that like one thing, and they're very limited edition. They're only like the people in that class get it. So it's kind of fun to do that. They're very popular. They sell out quickly pretty much every year at Celebration. And it's a nice couple of hours to introduce you to people that, you know, you might not have done their work or you might not have heard of their work. Try some new techniques, you know, something different, something you might not otherwise pick up. And yeah, kind of cool. So I'll have those for you hopefully next time and can show you 8 little projects that I have to do. So yeah, so that was Celebration this year, and I would be sitting in the lobby or wherever we'd be stitching in the new hotel, because this year was a new hotel, stitching away the day and going in and out of the shopping mall and having a good time while I was up there. And obviously this year we're not doing that, but if you ever want to have a nice weekend away, check out the Celebration in Nashua. It's a nice time and it's laid back, and you really can just spend what you're comfortable spending. You don't have to take classes. You don't have to do a ton of shopping. Awesome if you want to, you know, but you can just go there and stitch and just hang out and stitch and just meet people. And you'll see people that you've seen, you know, on FlossTube there. You'll see people that blog there. You'll see people that were at Facebook. It's not gigantic, but it's a sizable convention, and you're going to find people there. There's a grocery store around the corner, so you can cut down your expenses really, really well at this convention. It's actually a good one to go to. So if you need one to go to, and if you're ever there, let me know you're going, because I'll be like, hi, and we'll hang out for a little while and stitch. So I'm getting off track here. So shopping this month. Well, when I was buying the fabric for Pandemic, I picked up the 2 Blackbird designs that went along with the one that I showed you last time that I forgot was one of 3. So here are Autumn by Blackbird, and here is Winter. I need to move back. There we go. Move back, and now you can see Winter. And the 3 of them go together to make this really pretty 3-parter here. I don't know how I missed this when this first was published. I was definitely stitching back then. Maybe I was just in a different mindset with my stitching at the time. I don't know. But yeah, so now I have all 3 parts. So when I get around to stitching it, I actually have the whole thing. Oh, hello, Leia. Yes, I have a visitor. I have Mother Cat here. Let me introduce you to Mother Cat. Come here. This is Leia. She's not going to stand here long. Leia came into our lives last fall, and there she goes. She was a pregnant stray that was wandering around our yard and clearly was not anybody's cat, because she had a really, really bad, moldy old collar that was too small for her, so she had not been cared for and was heavily pregnant when she came in. And we originally had planned that we were going to, you know, make sure she was safe, maybe keep 1 kitten, give other kittens away if they survived. And of course, as what happens is that we have all of them. So 1 kitten did not survive, but the other 3 are now living with us. And so she was a instant crazy cat family cat. She comes with her own cats. They all look different, but yes, that's Leia. She's Mom, she's crazy, and she yells at them all the time, and it's a riot. And she keeps me in line while I'm working too. So, all right, back to stitching. Let's see. I bought stuff from Lindsey Stitches earlier this month. She did a cute little stitch along, a multicultural stitch along, which I saved the parts of, but I have not stitched yet, just because I was trying to get, you know, the astrology sampler done, and then Pandemic took over my life. So, but I did also want to buy some stuff from her because her stuff is cute. It's really cute. So first off, I bought some finishing materials. There's the other one. There it is. Some green and purple and some ribbon finishing for a bunny trio that I got through a Stitchy box for last spring. And I don't have a lot of these finishing doodads, so I wanted to make sure I had those because I am planning on stitching those for next spring. I don't have a lot of spring stitching done. And those will be small, and then I can have the accomplishment of having some finishes, which I don't have that often. So, yeah, so I got those. Then I got, because it was close to the 4th of July, and I was getting my little Americana thing going on, I bought this one. It's called A Stitch for Sweet Freedom. And the verse is, a stitch for sweet freedom, and one for being kind, two more for diversity, the last for a humble mind. And I thought it was a fun Americana one that was just a little different. And Lindsey Stitches had reminded us, let's get some more diversity in our stitching, and I'm guilty of that. I didn't have a lot of it in there. So that one got added to the group. And I actually think I have the fabric that it calls for, which will be awesome. So it's not going to be that hard for me to kit that sucker up. Next I have, and this is so true, I loved this one. It says, "Oh my darling, it's true. Beautiful things have dents and scratches too." I have so many dents and scratches. Yeah, this needs to go up on my wall pretty quickly. And this one, which when I got it, I immediately showed to my mother, who gave me a bit of a snort. And this says, "Happiness is having a large, loving, close-knit family in another city," which fits the description of my life perfectly, since my closest relatives are either in New Hampshire or down in Pennsylvania. Take your pick. So definitely fits my life. And then this one I bought mostly because of the cat thing, but it's a pretty one. And that one says, "I still remember the days I prayed for the things I have now." And that, of course, reminding myself about what we're going through right now, and that, you know what? Yeah, this is rough, but at the same time, I have to remember that, you know what, people have gone through a heck of a lot worse than I'm going through right now. And I mean, my goodness, I have the money to be able to spend on stitching stuff, for crying out loud. So perspective is a beautiful thing. So yeah, so that were my purchases from Lindsey Stitches. And is that it? Oh, that's it. Okay, yeah. So those are my stitching purchases. I feel like there's more, but I must have forgotten about something. So I think that brings me up to date then on all of my stitching stuff. Yeah. Next, so sorry to be a little rambly this time. I'm kind of doing this off the cuff because I haven't in a while, and I have a rare afternoon where my husband and my son are out, away from the house, and I've got the house to myself. I'm like, I'm gonna get this done really, really quickly before they get home, which is wonderful. And then I'm gonna go stitch, and I'm gonna have a lovely quiet afternoon by myself. But yeah, so that's where I am in my stitching, and things are fine. And, I'm going to plug away on ornaments this afternoon and see how well I'm doing on those and get those out of the way. No real news here. I mean, it's the same old. But I hope that you're doing well in your stitching in your lives, that you're hanging in there like we all have to right now, and just keep on keeping on. I guess I will say goodbye now until I see you again. Take care, all.